lately I've been saying that we're at a point where honestly, any day now, the price of XRP could take off. Now, that doesn't mean I'm saying it'll happen today, tomorrow, or even next week. Nobody knows for sure. And that's the honest truth. Even if it's not the most popular thing to admit, we simply can't predict the exact timing. That being said, I really do believe we're in that moment where it's very possible. And I say that based on experience. After being in this space for 7.5 years, you start to notice patterns. When the charts start moving the way they are now, it's usually a sign that something big could happen. It might be today, tomorrow, next week, or within the next few months, but the probability feels higher now than ever. Back in the months leading up to XRP's breakout in November, I was saying the same kind of thing. It's funny, I almost said outbreak, which makes it sound like something totally different. But seriously, the breakout made sense based on what we were seeing at the time. We couldn't predict the exact moment it would happen, but historical patterns suggested it was likely after the elections. And that's exactly what happened. Shared some of that historical precedent, which showed why it was reasonable to expect a move like that. If you're serious about XRP or any crypto trading, here's your power move. Sign up to Bybit using my exclusive link below. Not only do you get a welcome bonus, but you'll also help support the channel so we can keep bringing you top tier XRP insights before anyone else. It takes 30 seconds, no KYC for spot trading, and you can deposit XRP directly and get smooth, fast, and secure. Check that link below and get started now. Don't miss out on those trading bonuses while they last. What really stands out to me is when multiple reputable analysts all start saying the same thing. Hey, this is looking primed. That's not something you see every day. Most of the time, analysts aren't all in agreement about XRP being ready to break out. It's pretty rare. So when it does happen, I take notice because it's an outlier. These moments don't come around often. It's not just me who thinks this, by the way. More and more analysts are starting to say the same thing. In this video, I'm going to share some examples from XRP chart analysts, including one who said, and I'm quoting here, XRP could literally break out any day. So yeah, it's not just me. This could be happening really soon. Plus, there's some historical precedent for strong crypto performance in the summer, so it's not far-fetched at all. Oh, and here's another interesting take. There's a well-known chart analyst with a great track record who's wondering, and for good reason, if XRP might actually be the coin to lead the next alt season. There's a lot to dive into here, but honestly, if you're not feeling optimistic right now, I'd have to check if you've got a pulse. That said, I want to be upfront about something. I don't have any kind of financial background. This isn't financial advice, and you definitely shouldn't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say. Let's just chat and share perspectives, okay? As I'm recording this, it's Sunday, June 29th, 2025, and XRP is sitting at $2.20. It's had a little jump recently. Check out that 24-hour chart, up by $2.22. Pretty solid, right? A similar story is playing out with Bitcoin, which is actually on the move right now, sitting at $18,761. A lot of analysts are buzzing about the idea that Bitcoin could take off at any moment. And when it does, just wait to see the ripple effect on altcoins, especially XRP. That's when the real excitement kicks in and things start heating up fast. Here's a fun update from Charting Guy, one of the analysts I follow who nailed the XRP breakout prediction for 2024. If you were tuning in back in December and January, you might remember me mentioning him. At the time, he wasn't making any promises, but he was playing around with the 2017 fractal, the one that mapped out XRP's biggest bull run in history, leading to its all-time high. What he did was overlay that fractal onto the current XRP movement and showed what it could look like if the pattern continued. He even outlined when bullish and bearish weeks might happen. Week after week, I kept tracking it just for fun. Week after week, for what feels like forever, I've honestly lost count. The same thing kept happening. Hopefully this jogs your memory. If you were tuning in back then, you'd notice he kept pointing it out. Week after week, like clockwork, the market mirrored what was happening back in 2017. It was wild to see. It just goes to show that as humans, we're kind of like biological robots. We follow the same patterns in similar situations, especially when it comes to investing. Of course, this doesn't mean you as an individual can't grow and change, because you absolutely can. But as a whole, we humans tend to stay pretty consistent in how we act. Okay, maybe not entirely stupid, but let's be honest, when it comes to things like investing, the FOMO, the panicking, and all those knee-jerk reactions, that stuff is here to stay. Sure, you can figure out how to avoid those pitfalls, but there will always be new people stepping into the game. Younger folks will grow into it and they'll have to learn those same lessons all over again, just like the rest of us did. Some people, even when they have all the right information, just struggle to keep their emotions in check and make smart decisions. And honestly, that's always going to be the case. But here's the silver lining for those of us who can stay calm and avoid emotional investing. There's a real opportunity. The key is patience. That's how you build life-changing wealth in crypto. The strategy is simple. You buy solid projects, and then here's the hard part. You do nothing. You let time do its thing, even if it takes years. That's literally been my entire approach, and it works. It's honestly been life-changing. A crazy percentage of my net worth is in crypto, which is wild to think about. I'll probably dive into that in another video because there's a whole separate story there. But back to the chart guy. He was spot on with his calls in December and January. Week after week, I just kept following his charts. And sure enough, XRP hit a new all-time high. Now, here's the exciting part. He thinks it's totally possible, not guaranteed, of course, that we could see XRP break out this summer. Looking at the chart, he's focusing on the $8, $9 range, but he's not limiting it to that. As I go through what he wrote, you'll see he acknowledges it could definitely go higher. He just dropped the fractal in there. So take a look at what he had to say. I could very well be a bit off. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if it breaks out sooner or goes higher. I was just sharing what I've been tracking for 7 months now. It's the same pattern that nailed both the December and January highs to the exact day, along with all the movement since. It really just comes down to how you line things up. But my original take is purely based on 2017 timing. 5 green weeks. 3 red, 4 more green, and then 28 weeks of mostly sideways movement. It all lines up to suggest a breakout could happen by the second week of August. Pretty exciting, right? So what he's pointing to here, the green weeks, the red weeks, that's exactly what I was watching and talking about back in December and January. And honestly, it's crazy how closely it's been tracking that pattern. Week after week, I kept thinking, will it keep following this? And I told you all at the time, if it does, here's where it's headed. And sure enough, it's been spot on. Honestly, it's kind of spooky how accurate it's been. If we're looking at a breakout in July or early August, that would be awesome. And hey, we're already at the end of June, so it's not like we have to wait too long, just a few more weeks. So here's the deal. Our charting expert is back with some insights. A lot of people align the fractal differently, and honestly, I can see why. Both perspectives make sense. That being said, a breakout could literally happen any day now. Seriously, any day. We're testing the trend line pretty hard at this point, and there's a solid weekly bullish engulfing candle showing up. That's exactly what we've been talking about. Things are looking promising. I'll admit it, I'm not really a chart guy, but honestly, you don't need to be one to get this. It's ready. Like, seriously, ready. Any day now, you could wake up and see it take off. No one knows for sure when, and I really appreciate that he's upfront about that. He's just doing his best to make an informed guess about what's likely, and that's the right approach. Anyway, he also shared another way to look at it, just one of many possibilities, showing a breakout starting soon with a local top coming around late July, just like he's been saying. And here's the cool part. This version suggests it might happen even sooner. We could be looking at something big happening within the next week, things really starting to take off, followed by a local top before August rolls around. That's the version of the chart we're seeing right now. Now, to be clear, this isn't a guarantee, but it's definitely an exciting possibility. This is the world we're in. It could happen. It's not some wild, baseless bull post either. The analysts I follow don't play those games. They're serious about their insights. Now, shifting gears, let's talk about Crypto Insight UK. This one's super interesting and could give you even more confidence that we might be seeing some big moves sooner rather than later. And this update comes from Crypto Insight UK, who always does an amazing job with his analysis. He's the same analyst who accurately predicted XRP's breakout last year, so definitely someone to pay attention to. According to him, XRP could be about to take the lead over Bitcoin. This morning, XRP showed a push supported by volume, climbing towards $114,000 to grab the liquidity sitting above. If this short-term move happens, it could trigger a larger push into the heavier liquidity zones on the daily chart, potentially kicking off what many are calling the start of alt season. For those not watching the chart, here's the gist. He's estimating that Bitcoin's next target range could land around $112,000 to $116,000. There's a lot of liquidity sitting in that zone marked in red. So here's the gist of what he's saying. If we hit that level, it could be enough to kick off alt season, maybe even with XRP leading the way. That's what he's hinting at. Of course, he's not making any promises, but still, it's an interesting take. And honestly, no good chart analyst is going to promise you anything. They focus on probabilities, which is really what charting is all about. That's not about guarantees, but understanding the odds. And the best analysts stick to that. It's not surprising. So here's the deal. Check this out. He's pointing out something super interesting. Look at where we were in 2024, right before the election. He's saying the same thing is happening now with XRP, and he's backing it up with numbers. Last time XRP went from $0.55 to $2.70 in just 30 days. Now imagine this. What if the charting guy's gut feeling about what's possible actually happens? What if in a matter of days, XRP starts pumping like crazy, hitting $8, $9, even higher before the end of July? Wild to think about, but not impossible. This stuff can move fast. Of course, nobody's saying it's guaranteed, and he's being realistic about that too. But still, it's exciting to think about what could happen. If you're talking about reaching that range, a potential fourfold jump in just a month, that's not crazy at all. Historically, things like this can happen that quickly. Honestly, I feel for anyone who's been panic selled over the past few months just because things have been moving sideways. If that's you, don't worry, you're not alone. But here's the thing, this isn't going to stay stuck forever. We're in a bull market, and sooner or later, it's going to break out to the upside. That's what I believe anyway. Let's take a moment to think about this. Sure, XRP has been hovering around the $2 mark for a while now, and that's totally normal. Consolidation happens, but just wait until it takes off. When it does, it's going to be something amazing to watch. Speaking of which, Crypto Insight UK points out something interesting. When Bitcoin breaks out of its range, it often sparks XRP's upward momentum. Could we be seeing history repeat itself? Is XRP about to kick off alt season? Think back to what happened last November. Could we see something similar? It's not out of the question. On top of that, Bitcoin dominance has been steadily rising since December 2022. XRP is still holding strong at $2. Pretty impressive, right? I've mentioned this a few times over the past 6 months, ever since XRP started pumping late last year. Just look at how much it's gained. Even with Bitcoin making moves, XRP has still outperformed during this period. That kind of strength is incredible. Seriously, it's not something we usually see from XRP. But here's the thing. When you've got a valuable altcoin with solid fundamentals that's been held back for years, it's only natural for it to take off once those barriers are gone. It's not exactly rocket science, if you ask me. And here's the exciting part. According to some, we're now back at the starting point of the previous alt season. That means alt season could kick off from anywhere within this range. You can see what he's getting at here. Personally, I like to look at the market through Bitcoin dominance in terms of market cap. It just makes more sense to me. And here's the thing. Bitcoin dominance is bound to break down eventually. When it does, alt season is going to go absolutely crazy. You mentioned we've already seen weeks of bearish divergence in Bitcoin dominance. So if it starts losing strength, it could happen really fast. To put it into perspective, remember that massive XRP run? That little move, which might look like a blip now, was actually a whopping 462% price increase. Imagine what could happen with altcoins if things heat up. Wow, take a look at this. It's pretty wild, isn't it? It's coming, folks. No doubt about it. Nobody knows exactly when, but I've got to say, every single analyst I follow seems to agree it's primed and ready. And let me tell you, that kind of consensus is rare. Seriously, it doesn't happen often. Like I said at the start, this is a big deal and it's worth paying attention to. Check out this short post from chart analyst Dark Defender. He's been analyzing XRP for years and shared an interesting observation. Have you ever seen a daily candle like this before? It's like it barely moved today, just a tiny scratch under daily resistance. I call it a silent candle. By the afternoon, around 2:58 p.m., XRP had moved a bit, but his point still stands. You can see what he's talking about here, this little nub right there. Pretty fascinating, especially when you consider it's bumping right up against that trend line of resistance. Look at how close this is getting. What if it really starts moving? It won't take much, folks. And then there's this to consider. Back in 2024, I spent a ton of time pointing out that the Bollinger Bands were the tightest they've ever been. When they're this tight, it signals that a big move is coming. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it'll go up or down, but since we were in a bull market at the time, I argued it was much more likely to break upwards than downwards. Sure enough, XRP's Bollinger Bands hit their tightest point ever. Then November rolls around, the election happens, and boom, look at that breakout. See those red lines spreading out? One's going in this direction, the other is heading the opposite way. They're opening up. But look, now they're tightening again. You know what that means, right? A big move is coming, folks. We might not know exactly when, but since we're in a bull market, doesn't it seem more likely, though not guaranteed, that the move will be upward? That's what I'm betting on. Take a look and see for yourself. Here's an interesting take from chart analyst Khalil. He's predicting Ethereum could hit $3,000 plus next week. Now, I'll admit, when analysts throw out specific price predictions on such short time frames, I tend to roll my eyes a bit. But you know what? He could actually be right. This is the kind of period where a big move like that wouldn't be too surprising. And here's something cool to think about. If XRP were to match Ethereum's market cap at just $3,000, do you know what XRP's price would be? $6. Yep. There's historical precedent for a jump like that. And even that little change could push XRP to $6. If things start heating up, don't be shocked. Here's an update from Mikey Bull Crypto. Altcoins could be gearing up for a rally with a double bottom pattern similar to what we saw in 2020. He's drawing parallels to where we are now. And if history repeats itself, we might see a massive move soon. This is based on the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin add AK total too. Another analyst is saying, guys, it's time, whether it happens today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. And here's Crypto Wizard weighing in with the Bitcoin USD chart. Which path will it take? It's decision time. Do you see the theme here? This is what I've been saying all along. Things are looking up. Let's break this down. It's decision time. In the short term, prices might dip a bit, but that doesn't change the bigger picture. Here's what's happening. Bitcoin has been in a downtrend since May 23rd and is now testing the upper trend line of the wedge. The big question is, will it break out and shoot to new highs? Or will it pull back and form a higher low? We'll find out soon enough. Therefore, now all we need to do is hang tight. Personally, I'm feeling super optimistic as an XRP holder. I've never been more excited in all my years of holding it. This feels like the moment, the one where real price discovery could finally begin, something we haven't seen for over 7 years. Thanks for watching. If you got value from this breakdown, drop a like, subscribe for real XRP updates, and don't forget to check out Bybit using my link below. You get a deposit bonus and it helps this channel grow. Win-win